Hardship is best defined as severe privation and suffering, yet for the most part, many of us use our hardships to define who we are as people and use them as excuses for our mistakes. In my lifetime, I have come across many of these people, myself included. Yet I once knew a man who didn't let his hardships define who he was as a person, but rather used them to do better and persevere in life. This man was my uncle, Mahmoud Zahid, a man who taught me not to use my misfortunes as an excuse, but rather as a blessing. With that being said, we should not use our hardships to define who we are as people, but rather use them to better ourselves and the world around us. Born in 1964, my uncle was raised in a war zone following the Lebanese and Israeli bloodshed. He had little to eat as a child, living off mainly water, bread, and food. His childhood playground was the bomb shelter down the street. His bedroom was the corner he shared with 15 other scared citizens. And of course, his toy was his imagination, which he used gunfire, explosions, and missiles to fulfill. As he grew older, the war continued. He went out into dangerous conditions to locate food for his family, to help those who were injured, and to comfort those who were afraid. Although he knew the risks he was taking, he did this and sacrificed his life for those he did not even know, for his family, and for his country. By 24, he roamed the broken streets of Lebanon, only to be hit in the back of the head by an Israeli soldier and taken to an area he was nowhere to be found. After losing his memory, he was found walking the streets of his village with nothing but his shoes. His loved ones, being my mother and grandmother, healed him and reminded him of his past. Years later, now married with children, my uncle moved to America to give his children the future he never had. Again, leaving behind all he knew to sacrifice his happiness for others. With the little money he had, he donated to local mosques, the homeless, and other foundations. With the little cigarettes he had, he passed one out to all those around him who smoked. And with the little love and safety he received as a child, he dedicated his life to make sure his family lived a happy and comfortable one. By 48, his kids now in college, he battled lung cancer. By 50, he lost his life. Before he passed away, he told his daughter to travel the world for him because he was never able to do so. He told his son to pursue his dreams the way he never could. And he told his wife to find a man who made her feel loved and happy all over again. Although Mahmoud's life was short-lived, hellish, and despairing, he used his hardships to make the lives of others easier. He never lost hope, he never forgot positivity, and most of all, he never disregarded love, but rather spread it to the ends of the earth. My uncle was not a charity case. My uncle was not a man who looked for pity, but rather a man who used his hardships to promote a life that he was never able to experience. My uncle was a hero who cared for those more than he cared for himself. My uncle was a man who did more for others than he did for himself. He was a fighter. His acts of kindness still prevail today, although they might have been small. His daughter now studying cancer research, his son majoring in the field of journalism, and his wife working to continue his legacy in his house. My uncle was a man of God, a man who never put his happiness before those of others. My uncle was not a man who used his hardships, but rather used them to push him, motivate him, and inspire others. His acts of kindness may not have been large, but they were significant to his loved ones and the ones he was able to help and uplift. My uncle was not rich or famous, but he was kind. My uncle was a hero and an inspiration. I hope his story was able to inspire you all the way it inspired me. Thank you.